Ooh, he just might be.
He might not be.
Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Why does that say pink glass on it?
Because I forgot my glass. It says pink glass.
Hey, my others were dirty, so
Oh.
I had to get a pink one. Well, I don't know. Dr. Phil was supposed to take care of that. I guess he didn't. Hi, GenderBlenders. Welcome to week 160, and this is the beginning. If it's 160, that's a very odd number for a beginning. Where did this journey start for you? Was it a gradual thing? Was it a sudden revelation? And what was the first step you took to do something about it?
Well, we all had specifically different beginnings. I think what they're asking is how did you transition? Your journey toward becoming yourself. Journey meaning transitioning, meaning when we started, came into recognition who we were, and began our journey.
Just a few years ago, I ended up with a couple heart attacks. I ended up with some urinary tract infection.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what started me on going through my journey.
Right.
Started self-medicating, still not really understanding what I was doing, but I was enhancing that feeling that I got that was helping me in the urinary tract thing that I had. And so I started enhancing that. And, when I first started, again, I felt good.
Mm-hmm.
But, things were starting to happen to my body. Mm-hmm. And I got scared because, oh my goodness, what am I doing to myself? Mm-hmm. And I kind of got scared and stopped. And, of course, as soon as I stopped, I started feeling bad again. Mm-hmm. So I started again. And I felt good. I got scared and stopped. And about that time is the time that I went to my heart doctor at the time. Mm-hmm. And he said, you might as well get things prepared because you ain't got long for this place. And that scared me even more than I was scaring myself.
Yeah.
So, I just was determined, okay, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out with a bang, not with a whimper. Mm-hmm. And I just started and I just kept going. After about 6 weeks solid, maybe 8 weeks in that area, I woke up one morning and there's all these wonderful feelings that I never had in my life. And those wonderful feelings were, oh goodness, I'm a girl.
Yeah.
I can feel emotions. I can feel myself. It's wonderful. Mm-hmm. And that wonder said, oh my goodness, well, what am I? Well, I'm a girl. And I never looked back. It was a realization that I was really something that I never had guessed in my life. Mm-hmm. And, then all the little Post-it notes kicked in. So was it a gradual thing? No, it was kind of a sudden realization. Oh my goodness, that's exactly what you are. Mm-hmm. And as soon as that realization, the first step that I took is I talked to a couple trans folks and said, what is going on with me? And, the answer I got was, hey, yeah, you're probably transsexual. And that was an amazing revelation. I started doing a little bit of research. And when I figured that one out, I said, okay, I understand exactly what I am. I went and got a doctor. He says, okay, here's what I'm doing. I'm on medication before I got, before I realized what I was. I actually did order through online pharmacy, and that worked out really well. You pick the things up and you get your thing, but you have to be very careful. You have to be very careful, folks, when you're doing that. And I also took the tests to monitor what my hormone levels were. So that is kind of my story. After I started, eventually I did go to a doctor and got things monitored and officially. I started changing all my documentation. First things first, get your documentation changed. Get your name changed. Come out wherever you are. I came out at work. I came out in church. I came out everywhere I went. First place I came out was Disneyland. I started going up to Disneyland as a girl. And even though I didn't pass well, it was a fun thing to do. And then I started, that got me over the little fear of, what the heck's going on here. It got me over that fear, and then I came out at work. I fortunately have a very wonderful boss. Leaving more things out, right before I came out at work, we had a Hawaiian luau. And I dressed as a Hawaiian wahine and shocked everyone. But of course I won that contest because it was a Hawaiian t-shirt contest. And so I won that hands down. But it kind of prepared everyone at work for what was going to be about happening to me. And so very shortly after that I came out at work and didn't really have an ounce of problem at work. Really nice people there. You met them. You met some people there. Yes, I have. So that's what's happened to me. You have a totally different story, don't you, girl?
Yeah. Well, I all comes out from knowing who I was at a very early age. I knew that I was a girl at the age of 6, which is true, undoubtedly. But I ended up having to hide it from my brothers and sisters, except for you because you weren't there, so I had to hide it, from the other siblings. My father knew about it. My mom wouldn't let me talk about it, so up until recently, and now she is. Yeah, so I couldn't really tell anybody because it would be exposure. And I had 2 friends at an early age in life. One named Michael Reppert, and the other one was Paul. And they neither one made it to their 18th birthdays. So there wasn't any internet or anything along that line. So there was no way for me to really know what was available for me to be myself, except for the fact that my father, was an engineer and so on and so forth. And I could get some of the paperwork and research and do some of the things, reading, stuff like that, which is how I first came to understanding, what it was that caused me to feel the way I felt. And then that's when I realized, that I was, in fact, transsexual. Of course, then I still had to hold that. I had to hide that a lot in the closet. Growing up, my only sanctuary was going in my room by myself and dreaming about my own land and dreaming about being me because I couldn't be me in society. It was just too dangerous. Then I had decided that in 1991 I was going to transition, but then I ended up getting testing for children, and of course couldn't transition then because that would have ended up I would have ended up losing custody for children had I transitioned. Then of course I was planning on coming out and on starting my transition with my father, him and I had been talking about it, and then he passed away on me. And it wasn't more than a couple of weeks after my father passed away that I found myself in the clinic myself, basically dying, needing to transition for the tests and stuff that they ran, where the testosterone and stuff was killing me. And my body was totally rejecting all testosterone. that I ended up having to kill it. So that was the beginning of mine. So I, of course, knew about in-house pharmacy, knowing that I was going to have to transition. I was able to get my Spiro without having to have medication, the estrogen.
Right.
But that was what was killing me, was testosterone. So it only made sense for me to become me. Until it's time, we were able to come up with and find a trans specialist. And then that's when I went and seen him. And of course, I was very happy with him because he was able to take my readings, took my beginning blood tests. He already had known I had been on estrogen self-medication for 3.5 months. And of course, I told him. So he immediately, after looking at my blood work, seeing the test results and stuff like that, put me on a forced puberty program, and started me off on 8 milligrams of estrogen, estradiol per day, 4 in the morning and 4 in the evening, which has worked beautifully. It's worked wonderfully, actually.
Yeah.
So I have no qualm with that, and I haven't had the physical changes, but I didn't expect to have many. I had some really good physical changes, more than what I had ever dreamed of or ever expected to have at my age. I was very happy with that. And I can remember when I started on my hormones, I can remember the very first day I came out of the doctor's office, and I just looked up and fell to my knees. Just total happiness and tears running down my face because, it'd just been a few weeks prior to that I'd been speaking with my dad, and we'd been planning on doing exactly what I was doing. So, basically I just kind of cried at first because that was what that's what me and Dad would have been doing anyway. And he wasn't there to see me. He wasn't there to see the happiness that I had, and that I was transitioning finally. And of course, my mom didn't know, hadn't told her, because we were planning on telling the whole family at once. We had a plan. My father always had a plan, and we were going to do that, but it didn't pan out. So I ended up having to tell my family myself, and of course I got the same flack that I knew I was going to be getting from them, and so did Dad. But I was there, but I was by myself. I didn't have my father to back me up. Yeah. And I told both of my children, who were mostly accepting and stuff in the beginning. With my daughter, oh my gosh, why didn't you tell me in the beginning? Could this be genetic? Could this be passed on? Is it in my genes? Because she didn't understand that being transsexual is not something that's genetic. It's something nature serves you to be. Well, she does now, me being transsexual. So then, of course, we found each other, and I was able to come and move down here, and where I was accepted, and my family is still slow to come around. Except for my children, but I was able to go and get correction, which was the most wonderful time and the wonderful day of my life, was finally being corrected. We have a lot of places that are trying to adopt my GCS. I've heard, and they're actually, but they're renaming.
They're renaming it. They can't do that.
They're calling it gender conforming or confirming. I'm sitting there going, that's what you do when you go to the therapist,
right?
And you get that GID. You're basically confirming your gender,
right?
You don't really get confirmed when you have the surgery. That's how you've already been confirmed, or you would be having the surgery. So,
that's right.
I worked really hard on coming up with GCS, which everyone is starting to use now. So all you surgeons and doctors out there who are calling it gender confirming. Gender corrective surgery. No one wants to say that they are being reassigned. So that's why we came up with gender corrective surgery. Because you're not being reassigned. And you're being corrected.
To what?
And there's a difference. For a long time, there are a lot of people out there who were calling themselves transgender because they didn't want to call themselves transsexual, because they didn't want it to be stated that they were being reassigned. Right. That is why we came up with gender corrective surgery. You already were confirmed by a physical therapist or by a psychologist that you in fact were a female, or that you had gender identification issue. Transsexuals don't really need to have that, although we get it anyway because that's one of the things that's required for you to have the GCS or gender corrective surgery. So we just kind of follow Hoyle, It's just a part of the WPATH standards of care.
Exactly.
Using Harry Benjamin's tests and stuff like that to show that in fact you are transsexual, which is which is also in the WPATH. So
Right.
So it works with everything that we do. And I was corrected.
Yes.
And I am very happy now. Of course, now I'm trying to lose weight. I mean, I think Jen was saying something about the fact that she was needing to lose weight too, that she gained weight.
I think we all did, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a natural weight gain. I gained weight because I had to sit around for 3 or 4 months to heal.
Yeah.
So, but now we're both exercising at the gym.
Yep.
At the spa, and we're both eating or trying to eat more healthily. We don't always succeed at that.
Right.
But we do try, and we all, on top of that, we have so many things that we're doing. So we're trying to juggle those things and get them categorically placed so that we can find and have more time to do things. And perhaps we'll have to put somebody in charge of some of the things that we're doing to relieve us from having to do the things that disallow us to have that time that we need.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things that have to happen to get everything set up and help it.
Yeah. So that's what we have to do. That's what happened to our journey. Did mine start gradually? No, I can tell you for a fact the minute I came out of the hospital, or out of the clinic, that very next day, everything that I was in my house, I got rid of.
Yep.
And I mean, I don't care if it was shoes, socks, belts, ties, shirts, pants, and shoes. Anything and everything went out my door that had anything to do with being male. Oddly enough, I only had 1 or 2 pairs of clothes to wear because they were girl clothes. So I ended up the very day after that having to go out and do some shopping for girl clothes.
Yay!
But I have never looked back since. So mine wasn't a gradual change. Mine was a sudden revelation. If that's, it says, was it a revelation? Yes. Mine was a revelation. I knew that I was a girl since I was 6. My transition started immediately upon my physical body
rejecting,
telling me it was time.
Yep.
That's when I started my transition. So that's my story as well.
Yay.
Anyway, my name is Stephanie.
I'm Steffi.
And we'll see everybody later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.